Welcome back, you beautiful people, to another lesson of Advanced Excel. And today we are going to be talking about referencing, about absolute and relative references. And today we are in the cell referencing file under level 1 and on the intro tab. Okay, so now you may ask, what is referencing? Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but let's say in this cell right here, E4. Let's say in E4, I put an equals to sign and I come over here and click on A4, right? And I press enter. You notice it's giving me the same value as A4. This is called referencing. In E4, I am referring to A4 and saying give me the value in A4 and put it in E4. That's the meaning of referencing. And even if I drag it down using the drag down feature, that you double click on this bottom right corner and pull it down. Let me do that again. Right? It also refers to the value below. Right here, it refers to the value below A4, that's A5, the value below A5, A6, and like that. Even if I drag it to the right, it also refers to the value to the right of A4, that's B4, and so on, in whichever direction I go. Even if I enter a new value here, let's say, right, and I drag it to the right, it's going to give me that same value. So that's just a basic explanation of what referencing is. Now, let me show you something. If right here I refer to A4 again, right, and without pressing anything, I want you to press F4. When I press F4, you notice there are two dollar signs now between A and 4. If I press it again, now there's just $1 sign before 4. If I press it again, now it's before A. And as you keep on pressing it, the positions of the dollar signs keep on changing. And sometimes it's just A4. Okay, now let me put it just before A. Okay, and let me press enter. Now it also shows me the value in A4, right? But now what happens when I drag it down? As you can see, when I drag it down, it gives me the values in A5, A6, A7. Now let me drag it to the right. Now, why doesn't it give me the value in B4? What is to the right of A4? It still gives me the value in A4 to its right. Why is that? Now, what this dollar sign before A means, it means that I have locked my reference. When I'm referring, I've locked column A, meaning that it cannot give me the values on column B, column C, column D, and so on. So I've locked column A. Okay, and even if I drag it down, sorry, let me go back. Let me drag it right, then drag it down. Even if I drag it down, you notice it still doesn't let me go to the values on column B. So it doesn't give me, here it doesn't give me 999. Here it does not give me 222. Here it does not give me 111. It has locked the row. or rather he has locked the column. Okay, so that's what happens when you put the dollar sign just before the column name. Now over here, let me refer to A4 again, but this time let me put the dollar sign before 4. Okay, and I'll press enter. Now let me see what happens when I drag it down. Okay, now what happens this time is I have locked column 4, meaning it is not going to give me any value on column 3. So I've locked row 4. It's not going to give me any value on row 3. It's not going to give me any value on row 5, row 6, row 7, and in any row except from row 4. It is only going to give me values on this row. Okay, so but if I drag it to the right, it gives me 888, because although I've locked the row, I have not locked the column. So it allows me to move from column A to column B to column C. Even if I put a value here and I dragged it to the right, it will give me that value. And if I drag it down, it still doesn't let me move to row 5 or row 6 or row 7. It will just be repeating all the values on row 4 as I drag it down. So here I have locked the row. Okay, now over here let me refer to A4 once more, and this time I'll press F4 and leave it at the dollar signs before A and the dollar sign before 4. So I have two dollar signs now, A and 4. And as I drag it down, it still gives me the values in A4. As I drag it to the right, it gives me the value in A4, and any direction I drag it really, it will just keep on giving me the values in A4. So why is that? It's because here not only have I locked the column, but I've also locked the row. And when you lock the column and you lock the row, you are locking the cell. So what happened here is that because I've locked it to just one particular cell, no matter what direction I go to, it will keep on repeating that cell. And this kind of reference is called an absolute reference. Because my referencing is absolutely limited to one cell, and that's A4. That's why it's called an absolute reference. Whereas these kind of references are called relative references. They are called relative references because my referencing is relative to the cell A4. Although it does not allow me to move from column to column, it allows me to move from row to row. So it is referencing cells that are relative to cell A4. And here, although it does not allow me to move from row to row, it allows me to move from column to column. So it is referencing cells that are relative to cell A4. But there's one last kind of relative reference. And over here, if I refer to cell A4 and I don't put any dollar sign before any number or letter, and I press enter, it not only allows me to move from column to column, it also allows me to move from row to row in any direction. And that was actually the first example we looked at. So even if I move it to the right or even upwards, it even gives me what is above this, the sample number, the introduction absolute, and so on. Now this is no lock, so there's no lock apply here. And this kind of is a relative reference. So these are the three kinds of relative references, and this is the absolute reference. So you can play around with it. You may have to maybe try it out a few times to really grasp it. I'll be going on to more examples in the lesson to come. So thank you for listening. Once again, I appreciate your feedback. You can write your comments or ask your questions in the comment section, or contact me via WhatsApp. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.